Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Kassandra and today we're doing a 60-minute Vinyasa Flow practice to help improve balance. So a lot of standing poses and you'll probably want to have one block close by. I did a 60-minute practice not too long ago, a couple weeks back, and you guys really loved it and kept asking for more. So there will definitely be more hour-long full-length classes on my channel from now on. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's begin in a comfortable seated pose. This can be cross-legged or kneeling or sitting up on a block, just so long as you can lift out of the lower back and drop the shoulders down and away from the ears. Keep the palms resting on the tops of the knees and just let the eyes close. Focusing on the inhale and the exhale, tuning into the breath. Notice which parts of your body are holding on to tension or feel a little tighter or more restricted. If at all possible, try to slow down your breathing and lengthen it, getting the inhale to be just as long as the exhale. Our intention today is to not rush, especially when we're working with balance poses. We usually want to get through pretty quickly when we're in them, but we will focus on not rushing, taking our time, and breathing through the poses. Take your last 5 deep breaths here. And you can keep the eyes closed if you'd like. Really simply, just start to trace circles with the upper body. Keep both sit bones grounded on the floor so we're not lifting them off the mat, but keeping them pressing down. Still keeping that same length in the lower back and in the sides of the waist. And let's reverse the other direction. This is just a nice way to warm up the lower back and warm up the spine, especially because we are doing our standing poses and balancing poses. It's important that we get in touch with our core and pelvic floor. Coming all the way back to center, holding onto the knees, take cat and cow from here. So as you inhale, lift the chest up, squeeze your shoulder blades behind you. And on the exhale, round the spine, chin to chest. Take a few more. Inhale, we lift. Exhale, contract. Go at your own pace. Last one. And come all the way back to center, fingertips to the floor. As you inhale, reach the arms up overhead, look up, bring the palms to touch, and take your side bend. So right hand down to the mat, left arm extends up and over. Reach through the side of your waist and keep pressing your left hip down into the floor. Draw that left shoulder back so the chest stays open, and you should really feel the extension from your left shoulder all the way down into that hip. Relax your neck. And use your abdominals to lift all the way back up to center. Let's switch sides. So inhale, lift and look up. Exhale, left hand down, right arm reaches up and over. Keep pressing into your right hip, reach through the fingertips. Soften the neck so the head can be heavy. Breathe into the right side of your waist. Lifting all the way back up, fingertips to the floor. Let's come into a tabletop pose. I'm going to stay facing you just so you can see me better, but you can turn to face towards the front of your mat. So onto our hands and knees. Palms are underneath the shoulders, fingertips are spreading nice and wide, knees are directly underneath your hips. Firm up your belly. On the inhale, we're gonna reach our right leg out to the side, keep that knee bent, and then exhale, set it back down. 4 more times. So inhale, lift up. Notice if you're bending the left elbow, keep it straight. Exhale to lower. 3 more. Inhale, lift, squeeze the glutes. Exhale to release. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, let it go. Last one, lift up and hold and straighten the right leg. So engage your glutes, see if you can lift your heel a little bit more and try not to let all of your weight go over to the left. Keep leaning and pressing into that right palm. 1 more inhale. And let's set that right foot down to the floor so you're aligning your right foot with the left knee. Toes are pointing forward, all 4 corners of that foot down on the mat, and then lift up. Coming into our side bend, slide your right hand down your right leg. Inhale, left arm reaches up and over, gate pose. Coming all the way back out, let's plant the left palm down onto the floor. Extend your right arm up and over. Now right fingertips are gonna go straight up towards the ceiling. Maybe look down to help you with balance. Lean into the left hand, left knee, and extend your right leg to hover off the ground. Firm up the belly. Reach from the crown of the head all the way down into that back right foot. Squeeze and lift it up a little higher. And let's release back into your tabletop pose, hands and knees. Before we do the other side, let's take 1 round of cat and cow. So inhale, drop the belly, lift the gaze, curl tailbone up. Exhale, round the spine, chin to chest. Let's come back to neutral. This time, inhale, left knee lifts up as high as you can get it. Be mindful of your right arm. Exhale to lower. Inhale, lift and squeeze. Exhale, release. Inhale, lift. Exhale to lower, spine is long. Inhale, lift the knee up. Lower it down. Last one to hold. So lift that left knee up and then straighten the left leg. Press into that heel. Try not to bend your right elbow. Keep pressing into the left fingertips. Lift it up even higher if you can. And then carefully set that left foot down. Plant all 4 corners of the foot down to the floor and carefully walk the palms back so you can bring your hands over onto your waist. We're gonna slide our left hand down our left leg. Inhale, right arm extends up and over, taking your side bend. And just breathing into that stretch. I do like to open up the side body quite a bit whenever we're doing balancing poses. Inhale, back out. Let's plant our right hand to the floor this time, left arm up and over. So you're roughly aligning your your right hand with your right shoulder. Left fingertips are gonna go straight up towards the sky. Look down to help you out with balance. Lean onto your right hand, right knee, and lift the left leg off the mat. Powering up the lower body. And release back down. Make your way back into your tabletop pose. So I'm gonna turn to face the right way towards the top of the mat. And let's take puppy stretch before we go any further. So keep your hips over your knees and just walk your palms forward until the forehead can press down to the floor. Breathe deep into the upper back. Let's walk the palms back in and make your way into your first downward facing dog. So palms are shoulder width distance apart, feet are hip width distance apart as you curl the toes under and lift the hips up and back. Go ahead and paddle your feet, move around, really anything that feels good here. We're gonna engage our abdominals a little bit more so that balancing becomes a little bit easier. The more you're really able to engage your core and engage your abdominals, the easier it'll be to stand on one leg or even do some arm balances or any kinds of those challenging postures. Press your chest towards your thighs. Let's reach our right leg all the way up to the sky. Bend your right knee and open up that hip. Keep squeezing the glute so the knee lifts up even higher, and soften your neck. Let's straighten and square that right leg so the toes and the knee point down. Come forward to plank pose. Squeeze your knee in towards your belly. Maybe tap your knee to your nose. Back into your three-legged dog. Extend and breathe in. Exhale to plank, knee to nose. Keep the hips low. Inhale, reach it back. Exhale, pull it in, hold here. Look past your hands and you're gonna step your right foot a couple inches behind your right hand, so not all the way to the top of the mat. Roll to the outer edges of both feet, so all 10 toes point to the right. Lean on your left hand and reach your right arm up and over. Both legs are pressing into the floor to help lift your hips up as high as you can. Take an inhale here, and as you exhale, drop the hips to hover and reach your right arm to the back of the mat. Inhale, press and lift. Exhale to lower. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, release. Our last one. So inhale, lift up and keep spiraling that arm until the palm comes to the floor, downward facing dog. Taking our first vinyasa from this down dog. Inhale, slowly come to plank pose. Exhale, lower all the way down to the floor. Point the toes back, lift up to cobra, chin and chest come up. Exhale, release, back into our downward facing dog, curling the toes under, lifting the hips up and back. 3 breaths. Engage the arms. Let's extend our left leg up, bend the left knee, open that hip nice and wide. Really engage the muscles in that leg. Let's straighten and square that left leg so the knee and the toes point down. Come to plank pose, tap your knee to your nose, keep the gaze forward slightly. Inhale, three-legged dog, extend. Exhale, plank pose, squeeze the thigh in. Inhale, three-legged dog. Exhale, knee to nose, hold here. Step your foot a couple inches behind your left wrist. Roll to the outer edges of both feet, so all 10 toes point to the left, leaning on your right hand, extending your left arm up and over. Lift your hips as high as you possibly can, and then exhale, drop the hips, reach your left hand back. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale to lower. Inhale, come on up. Exhale, release. Our last one, so inhale, come up. Keep rolling that palm all the way to the mat. Step back to your downward facing dog. Taking our vinyasa, inhale, plank pose. Exhale, lower down. Inhale to cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. So from this downward dog, let's bring our knees to the floor. Point your toes back and sit back onto your heels. So we're gonna stretch into the ankles and the tops of the feet, just so we can have a better foundation through our feet and our calves, which will help us balance a little more. Bring your fingertips back behind you, tuck the tailbone under, and lift the knees and the shins off the ground. So you should feel this stretch at the front of the feet and into the ankles. Keep the sternum lifted, shoulders pulling back. And release, set back down. Let's tuck our toes under this time and sit back onto the heels. You might need to move your little toe out of the way. Interlace your fingers, releasing the thumb and the index, and just lift straight up. Squeezing the biceps along the ears. Let all of your weight drop into the hips, stretching deeply into the bottoms of the feet and deep into the toes. Pulling up from the lower back, all the way into the fingertips. Your last breath here. And release. Downward dog. Palms shoulder width distance apart. Feet are hip width distance apart. Relax your neck and let your head be heavy. So from this downward dog, let's lift the heels off the ground, bend the knees, look forward, step or hop to the top of the mat. Take your halfway lift once you're there, flat back. Exhale, fold forward. Press to stand, both arms reach up overhead, palms come together to touch. And then exhale, draw your hands to your heart. Let's bend into the knees and take eagle pose. Cross your right thigh over your left, maybe wrapping the right toes back behind you. This is completely optional. Arms will bend at a 90-degree angle. Right arm underneath the left, binding once or twice. Bend into both knees and drop the hips. Keep pulling the lower belly in, tailbone is reaching towards the ground. Press your forearms in towards one another to open up the upper back. Keep your gaze really steady. We're going to come from here into warrior 3, keeping the interlace of the arms. So carefully unwrap the right leg and extend it back as you tilt your chest forward. At most, you're parallel to the ground, no further than that. Keep wrapping your right hip down so the toes and the knee point down. Breathe deeply. Standing tall on your left leg. Take your crescent lunge, so step those right toes all the way back. You might need to readjust your front leg a little bit. Left knee is bent generously, trying to get the thigh parallel to the mat. Take a tiny little back bend, lifting the elbows up. Dropping the hips down low. Taking one more inhale here. And then exhale, release. Let's open up the arms into your crescent lunge. Bend and drop a little lower. Let's open up into a twist. Right hand forward, left hand back. Keep the arms nice and open, palms are pressing down. Still bending into your left knee. Carefully trying not to let your weight tilt forward. And let's reverse this lunge. So left hand to the inner right thigh, right arm up. Into your easy twist, right hand down to the floor, left arm reaches up towards the sky. Make sure your right palm is stacked underneath that shoulder. We're coming from here into side plank. So roll to the outer edge of your right foot, stack the left leg over the right, and press to lift your hips up high. Slow, steady, controlled breath. Pick up the hips a little higher. Let's look down to the floor. Find your downward facing dog. Please feel free to hold this downward dog if you would like. You don't need to take these flows, but if you want to take your vinyasa, inhale, come forward to plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, back to down dog. Relax your neck, let your head be heavy. Let's lift the heels high off the ground. Bend your knees, look forward, step or hop. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, we fold. Press to stand, both arms reach up overhead, palms come to touch. Exhale, draw your hands to your heart. Second side, so make sure you're standing at the top of the mat. Bend into your knees and you're gonna cross your left thigh over your right, maybe looping the toes back also. Make sure your knees don't go over towards the right here. Keep them squeezing and pointing forward. Let's wrap our left arm underneath our right once or twice. Bend both knees as much as you can while keeping the chest lifted. Gaze is steady to help with balance. Try not to dig your toes in the ground. Sink down a little lower. And let's take warrior 3. So unwrap that left leg and start to extend it back as you tilt your chest forward. Keeping our eagle arms. Engage the muscles in the back leg to help the left heel lift up even higher without letting the hip go up higher than the right. Keep it spinning and dropping down. Into your crescent lunge, step the left toes back. Maybe readjust the front leg a little bit just so you can bend into that right knee even more. And let's lift our elbows up, taking your back bend. Come back to center. Release the arms, opening them up nice and wide. Palms reach up. Inhale here. Exhale to twist. Left hand forward, this time right arm back. Pull that right shoulder back. Careful not to tilt forward towards your right thigh. Keep your shoulders roughly over the hips. And we're going to reverse from here. So right hand to the inside of your left thigh, left arm up and over. Pay attention to the quality of your breath. Into your easy twist, left hand down, right arm up. Stack your shoulders, strong through your core and through your legs. Side plank, roll to the outer edge of your left foot. Stack your right leg over the left as you press and lift your hips up. Take another breath to lift up higher. And let's start to look down at the floor. Find your downward dog. Hips lift up and back. Press into the heels. Stay here if you'd like, or take your flow. Inhale, plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, down dog. Let's walk our palms to the back of the mat and take a forward fold. So you'll need to make sure your feet are at least hip-width distance apart, maybe a little bit wider. And feel free to bend your knees as much as you'd like. Palms can stay down to the ground, or you can catch a hold of your two big toes with your peace fingers. As you inhale, lift and lengthen, halfway lift. And then exhale, bend the elbows away from each other as you fold a little deeper. Soften the neck. And let's release the hold of the toes. Come into Malasana, your yogi squat. So heels in, toes out, bend the knees, and drop the hips all the way down. Press your hands together at the front of the heart and use the elbows so that the knees can open up a little wider. Careful not to contract here. Stay lifted and tall. Breathing deeply into the pelvis and into the hips and inner groin. I always like to put a few hip openers, no matter what the focus of the class is. But because we are working on balance today, you have the option of coming into an arm balance, taking crow pose from here. You're pretty much perfectly set up for it. Palms are shoulder width distance apart, fingertips are spreading wide. Start to lift onto the balls of the feet and straighten the legs a little bit, just so you can bring your knees as far up the upper arm as you possibly can. So maybe directly into the armpits. And then you're leaning your weight forward, maybe eventually lifting one or both legs off the floor, squeezing the inner thighs together. Try not to look straight down, look forward a little bit. So about 6 inches in front of the palms. Keep squeezing and lifting, 2 more breaths. And carefully come back into your squat. Staying lifted. And fold forward, feet are parallel to the longer edges of the mat. Let the upper body dangle. Let's bend the knees generously, slowly come all the way up to stand, rolling one vertebrae at a time until head and shoulders make their way up, drawing the shoulders down and away from the ears. Let's step to the top of the mat. So all the way to the top of the mat, lean on your left leg and pull your right knee in towards your chest. Keep that hold of the right knee with your left hand and extend your right arm back. So drawing that right shoulder back behind you. Stay here if you'd like, or if you want to go deeper into this stretch, you can catch a hold of your big right toe with your 2 fingers on the left hand and extend that leg straight. So very deep twist. Let's slowly start to unwind, bend into your right knee again, hands at the heart. Squeeze the hip flexors to lift the right knee up into your warrior three. So kick that right leg back as you hinge forward. So hands can stay at the heart or reach out to the sides, whichever variation you want to work with today. You can even reach your arms up overhead if you want to work on upper body strength a little bit more. Keep reaching through the back heel. We're coming into our standing split. So fingertips down to the floor or onto a block. Reach your right leg up and back. Really engage the muscles in that right leg to help the heel lift up higher. Relax your neck. So this is a balancing pose class. So we're going to engage the belly and come all the way back up to standing. Nice and slow. Hands at the heart. Keep your gaze going, keep the breath going, and once more, pull that right knee in towards the chest. We're gonna cross the right ankle over the top of the left thigh, bend into the left knee, send the hips back, chest forward, standing pigeon pose. Make sure that right foot stays firmly flexed. Let's start to lift back up. Step it back into a high lunge, right toes back. Arms reach up. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, palms to the ground. Let's take our vinyasa. Inhale to plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Lifting the hips up and back. Let's make our way to the top of the mat. Lift the heels, bend the knees, step or hop forward. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, fold. Press to stand, both arms reach up overhead, palms come together to touch. Exhale, hands at the heart. So we're at the top of the mat, lean on your right leg, pull your left knee in. Lift up through the quads. Keep your right hand over on your left shin and open up into your twist. Left arm towards the back of your mat. So both hips are still facing forward. You can stay here or you can straighten that left leg, maybe holding onto the big toe. Pull the lower belly in. See if you can grow a little taller in this stance. Slowly unwind, bend the left knee, come back to center, hands at your heart, warrior three. Kicking the left leg back, tilting the chest forward. Remember, you can take any arm variation that you'd like here. I'm just gonna keep my hands to the center of the chest. Flexing into that left foot, engaging the glutes and the hamstrings to lift the heel up even higher. Standing splits, fingertips to the floor. Reach your left leg up and back. Soften your neck. Feel free to put your hands on a block here if the floor is a little too far away. And let's engage the belly. We're gonna come all the way back up. We're making our way into our standing pigeon pose. So hands at the heart, keep standing on that right leg, and once you're up, you're gonna cross your left ankle over the top of the right thigh. Start to bend into your right knee, hips go back, chest leans forward. Try not to grip your toes into the floor. Don't worry too much if you fall out of it. This is a challenging class for sure. We're coming into our crescent lunge, so let's step up. Left toes back behind you. Inhale, reach the arms up, maybe look up. Exhale, plant your palms, take your vinyasa. Inhale, plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog, pressing into your heels. So make sure you have a block somewhere close to the top of the mat. We're probably going to need it for this next flow. Just depends on your level of flexibility. Let's reach our right leg up towards the sky. Bend your right knee, open up your hip. So from here, let's start to come up onto the left fingertips. So the left palm is no longer really on the floor. And then you can start to drag that hand closer towards the center of your mat. And now the challenge here is that we're going to try to lift the left hand off the floor and maybe catch a hold of our right foot. This is really challenging, so take your time while you're playing around with it. Keep the right arm and the left leg super strong and super engaged. Let's release. Step your right foot forward in between the palms to the top of the mat, warrior two. Back foot parallel to the short edge of your mat, arms reach out. Palms are facing down, right knee is bending. Reverse your warrior, left hand down, right arm up. Back into warrior two. Let's straighten our right leg, maybe bring your back foot in a little bit, narrow your stance, triangle pose, hips go back, sliding the right hand down the leg, left arm up. Feel free to put a block underneath your right palm. Careful not to let the chest stick out. Keep the upper ribs hugging in. And we're coming from here into half moon. So let's bring our left hand on our waist, start to look down. Bend into your right knee. You're either going to bring your fingertips 6 inches in front of your right foot or onto a block. Standing on your right leg. Left leg extends up and back. Draw that left hip and your left shoulder open. So everything is facing the left side of your mat, maybe eventually lifting your left arm up. So really working strongly on our balance. Feel free to stay here or transition to sugarcane pose. So bending into that left knee, catching a hold of the left foot with your palm. Once you have that, you can start to kick the foot in towards the palm to lift the knee up even higher. Really, really good quad stretch. Let's all start to look down at the floor. Release the hold of your back foot if that's what you were doing. Bring your left hand down to the ground. Square off your hips. So both hips are facing down. Revolved half moon. Keep your left fingertips where they are. Bring your right hand on your waist. Start to open up that right shoulder. And then maybe the right arm reaches up. So definitely a very challenging pose. You're either going to stay here or you're going to take a revolved sugarcane, bending into your left knee again, catching hold of that foot with your right hand and kicking the foot into the palm. So a lot going on. Take one more breath and release downward facing dog. Step both feet back. Whew. And let's take our flow. Inhale, plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. So second side, reach your left leg up and back, bend that left knee, open up that hip. Start to tent the right fingertips and drag your right hand towards the center of your mat. Once you have your gaze steady and your balance, you're engaging your core, you can reach back and hold on to the left foot with the right hand, trying to kick that foot into the palm. And don't worry if you fall out of it. This is super challenging. And let's release. Warrior two, left foot forward, in between the hands. Right foot parallel to the short edge of your mat. Arms extend and reach out. Bend into the left knee and try to press it open. Let's reverse. Right hand down, left arm up. Back to warrior two. Triangle pose, so straighten your left leg, bring your back toes in just a little bit. Hips are going to reach back, sliding your left hand down your leg, right arm up. Feel free to grab a block. So So we have that strong balancing sequence up next. Let's bring our right hand on our waist. Start to bend into your left knee and look down. Bring your left fingertips down to the mat, half moon to start off with. So balance on your left leg, reach your right leg up and back. Roll that right hip and your right shoulder back, maybe eventually lifting your right fingertips up. Squeeze the glutes, power up the legs. You can stay here or you can come into sugarcane pose, bending the right knee, catching a hold of the foot with your palm, and then kicking that foot into the hand to lift it up even higher. So this is definitely a big hamstring stretch at the same time. You'll probably feel it pretty intensely through your left leg. If you're in sugarcane pose, you can start to release. We all look down so that we can bring our right fingertips down to the mat. Square off your right hip so the knee and the toes point down. Lean on the right fingertips, left hand on your waist. Start to roll your left shoulder back as you open up your chest. Maybe reach your left arm up. Revolved half moon. Maybe coming into revolved sugarcane pose by bending the right knee and catching a hold of that foot with your left hand. Kicking that foot into the palm. Keep breathing deeply in and out through the nose. Don't worry about what it looks like. Let's release downward facing dog. Take your flow. Inhale, plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Let's bring our knees down onto the mat. Set your hips towards your heels. Take a child's pose. Give yourself a good minute here. Let's make our way back into our downward dog. Lift the heels, bend the knees, step or hop forward. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, we fold. Press to stand, reach the arms up overhead, bring the palms together to touch. And let's draw the hands together at the heart. Coming into our new balance pose, so make sure you're at the top of the mat. Lean onto your left leg, bend into both knees, and you're going to catch a hold of your big right toe with your right hand. So you might want to keep that right knee bent if that's more appropriate for you today. Otherwise, you can straighten that right leg forward. Keep that right hip pulling back and the chest lengthening up. Let's open up that right leg to the side. Into your tree pose, bend the right knee and set the right foot to the inside of that left leg. Press the foot firmly and feel the thigh press against that foot so everything lifts up. Hands can join at the heart. Once you have your gaze steady and have your balance, you can reach your arms up overhead. So with our arms up here, let's just bring the hands back together at the heart. We're going to transition into dancer's pose. So float your right knee straight forward, engage the hip flexors, Left arm is going to reach forward, and you can grab a hold of your right foot to the inside with your right hand. Make sure your knees are hugging in towards one another so you're not letting that right knee go out to the side too much. And then you can start to kick that right foot into the palm just to lift it up. Try not to dip your chest too far forward. There is a bit of a back bend in this pose. Make your way back. Both feet flat to the floor, fold all the way down. Let yourself hang heavy, maybe grab a hold of opposite elbows and just sway a little side to side. Three more breaths. And let's bring our fingertips to the floor. Bend your knees even more and slowly roll all the way up to stand. Take your time with this, no rushing. Head and shoulders are the last to make their way up. And let's go do the other side. So lean onto your right leg, bend the knees a little bit, hand on your waist. You're going to catch a hold of your big left toe with your 2-piece fingers. Try to straighten your right leg, but keep your left knee bent if you need to. Otherwise, we're going to extend that leg forward. And it really does not need to be perfectly straight. Instead, try to focus on lengthening and lifting out of your lower back. And if that means your left knee needs to bend, that's perfectly fine. Open it up to the side. Into your tree pose, left foot to the inside of your right thigh. Find your balance, and then the hands can come together at the center of the chest, eventually lifting up. Stay lifted. Bring your hands back to your heart. We're coming from here into dancer's pose. So float your left knee straight forward, squeeze the hip flexors. Right hand is going to reach forward, catch the inside of your left foot with your left palm. Find your stance, so squeeze the under thighs in, and then you can start to kick your left foot in towards that hand. Only leaning forward a tiny little bit with the chest, really not too much. No rushing. Release. Fold all the way forward. One last deep forward fold here. Maybe holding onto the elbows again, gently swaying side to side. Let's release our fingertips back to the mat. Step back to your downward facing dog. Hold your down dog if you'd like, or let's take a flow. Inhale to plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Right leg is going to extend up to the sky, and then step it through for your crescent lunge. Feet are hip width distance apart, arms extend up. As you inhale, lift and lengthen. And on the exhale, hinge forward, reach your arms back, hover. Inhale, lift back up. Exhale, tilt forward. Inhale, lift. Exhale, tilt forward. Bring your hands at your heart, warrior 3. Standing on your left leg, sorry, on your right leg, left leg is lifting up and back. Take an inhale to hold here. Exhale, bend your right knee and drop the hips. Inhale, press and lift it up. Exhale, down. Inhale, straighten the right leg. Exhale, bend the knee, fingertips to the floor, straighten both legs into your standing splits. So because we are working on balance, this time you can change up your standing splits, maybe grabbing a hold of your ankle with one or both hands. Look straight down if you're doing this option. Keep lifting up through that back leg. Stepping it back to your downward facing dog. Take a flow if you'd like. Inhale, plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale to down dog. Second side, left leg up. Step it through to your crescent lunge. Feet are hip width distance apart. Come on up. So on an inhale, we lift and lengthen, maybe look up. Exhale, tilt forward. Inhale, lift. Exhale, back. Inhale, lift up. Keep bending the left knee. Let's tilt forward. Bring your hands at your heart. Warrior 3. So this time, standing on the left leg. Right leg extends back behind you. Inhale where you are. Exhale, bend the left knee deeply. Press back up. Inhale. Exhale, lower. Inhale, come on up. Exhale to lower. Fingertips to the floor, standing splits. Reach that right leg up and back. And you can stay here, or you can catch a hold of your left ankle with one or both hands. Do not hold your breath. Squeezing and lifting back into our downward facing dog. Take a vinyasa. Inhale to plank. Lower. Back bend. Down dog. 5 breaths here. Let's bring our knees to the floor. Just sit back onto your heels. Take a few moments here. Palms on the thighs. So you might want to take the time to move your mat close to a wall if you're not already close to one, because we are working on balance. One of the biggest balancing poses are inversions. So we're going to do a headstand now, the traditional supported headstand variation, not the tripod one. So if you're not familiar with this, go close to a wall so that you can just kick up and don't have to worry too much about balance. Instead, you can just focus on building up strength gradually, slowly, without too much risk. Otherwise, from this stance, we're just going to interlace our fingers. So you want your forearms flat to the ground. Elbows are about shoulder width distance apart, maybe a tiny bit narrower than that. And then you can bring the crown of your head down to the floor. So your arms are really hugging into that head, pressing the forearms down, curl the toes under so you can lift the hips. And you can either kick one leg up and get the other one to join it, or you can bring one knee in towards the chest and then the other and lift up from there. Or you can do a complete press up by just dragging the toes in and then using core strength to lift the legs up. So it doesn't matter how you get there, or if you're using a wall or not. This is all about learning how to balance, whether that's on our feet or on our head. If you know you have neck issues, then you will know that this is not appropriate for your body, in which case you can just skip it. Just 5 more breaths here. Slowly come out. Take a child's pose. So let's switch the focus a little bit less on balance. That was our peak pose, and let's focus on taking some longer held hip openers. Back into your down dog. Let's make our way into pigeon pose, right leg up, and then bring your right knee behind your right wrist. Extend your left leg all the way back. Feel free to prop yourself up on a block or two if you like, or fold forward. 10 breaths right here. Let's walk the palms back in, lift the chest, ease your way back into down dog. Feel free to do any little movements you need to here. And you can take a flow or skip it out. We all meet in our downward dog. Second side, left leg up, and bring your left knee behind your left wrist. Extend your right leg back behind you and fold. 1 minute right here. Take your last 3 breaths. And we lift up and back, downward facing dog. Take a vinyasa if you'd like, plank to chaturanga, to upward dog, and to down dog. So our final little sequence before we close our class, let's reach our right leg up and then step that foot to the outer edge of your right hand. So this is like lizard pose. Toes are pointing forward, both arms to the inside of that leg. Reach your right arm, bicep along the ear, and just rock back and forth a little bit. So pressing into the heel and then rocking back to the ball of the foot. Pull the legs in towards one another so you're engaging the muscles. And let's open it up into a twist, right arm straight up. into our side plank pose. Roll to the outer edge of your left foot. Stack your right leg over your left. So you're either gonna stay here or you're gonna hover your right leg off the floor. Bend into that knee, step the right toes back, and reach your right arm up and over for Wild Thing. Lifting the hips up and pressing into the chest. Downward facing dog with control. Second side, left leg up. Bring your left foot to the outer edge of your left hand, so both palms to the inside of that leg. Rock back and forth as you extend your left arm forward. And then find that middle point and squeeze, hug the legs in towards one another. Open it up into your twist, left arm up. Into your side plank pose, roll to the outer edge of your right foot, stack the left leg over the right to press and lift the hips. Stay here or float the left leg up, bend that knee, drop the toes back behind you, and reach your left arm up and over. Both legs are strong and engaged. Back into your downward facing dog. So this is both our last down dog and our last opportunity for a flow. Inhale, plank. Exhale, lower. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Let's set our knees to the ground. Swing your legs forward and lower all the way down onto your back. And once you're there, you can always pull your knees in towards your belly. Maybe rock a little side to side, massaging the lower back. You can take it a little bit further by coming into happy baby, stacking the ankles over the knees, keeping the elbows to the insides of the legs. Feet are flexed, so the sole of the feet face up. And let's release. Make your way into shavasana, our final resting pose. Take up lots of space and let yourself relax. Observe how you feel after that really strong class. Give yourself a few minutes just to let it go. And melt into the earth. So this is where I will leave you. Thank you so much for doing this practice with me. Please remember to subscribe to my channel and give the video a thumbs up. I really do appreciate it. Have a wonderful day. Namaste.